drink, my sorrow's gone, and now I am moving on. And I've been thinking about you and everything you do. This time I won't let you go. This time I won't let you go. The only time when I don't feel like going home is when you stick around and hold me warm. I just wanna be with you, even if you don't want to. Girl, you promised you would never let me go. Do you remember all the times we stayed up all night and dreamt about what we could be? You told me it was you and me, but now when you are gone, you won't pick up the phone. So tell me, girl, how could you do this to me? The only time when I don't feel like going home is when you stick around and hold me warm. I just wanna be with you, even if you don't want to. Girl, you promised you would never let me go. Do you remember all the times we stayed up all night and dreamt about what we could be? You told me it was you and me, but now when you are gone, you won't pick up the phone. So tell me, girl, how could you do this to me? How could you do this to me?
Please don't get jealous of the things I've done, 'cause I have made my way through the better days. I will not be angry if you walk away, 'cause it just proves that you are not okay. I should've known from the start that I was starting something. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I should've known right from the start that it would end in more than. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I can't help but feel the way I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with you, I can't help but feel the way I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with you. Please stop your yelling, you used to be so calm. You were my number one, but now you're just no fun. I showed you my hand and you played it repeatedly. Oh, and now it's time to go back into me. Oh, I should've known from the start that I was doing something. Oh, I should've known right from the start that it would end in nothing. I can't help but feel the way I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with you, I can't help but feel the way I feel when I'm with you. When I'm with you.
trying to look back. I'm just trying to move in the shadows. Yesterday, tomorrow, I'm searching for a way. I can't tell the difference between you, between me, and search for an answer. I can't tell the truth, even though it takes courage to capture a dancer. The things I fear the most, between you, between me.
Hello friends, how's everyone tonight? Hopefully you can hear me. I might need to move my camera or my mic closer. One day I'll have a mic arm where I can just put my mic right here. But not today. Not today. Hope everybody's having a great day. My day's been okay. Nothing really exciting happened. It was just another day. Yep, got up, went to work. Yeah. Worked all day. Well, worked at the school, and then I came home, and then I did other work for like some of my online stuff, so. And then yeah. And then I had to go get my kids, so. But tomorrow I get to take my car to the mechanic, and then I get to walk everywhere, so that'll be fun. I'm really glad that I have a job literally right behind my house, because that makes it so much easier. So, excuse me. Yeah, I get to take my car to the mechanic in the morning, and then gotta get driven home, and then I have to walk my kids to school, and then I have to walk myself to work. So, but my coworker said that if my car gets done like when work is over, because we both get off at the same time, then she would drive me over there. So let's hope. I don't know if it'll be done by then, but we'll see. But hopefully it's not too expensive. But at this point, I gotta do what I gotta do, because I can't afford a new car, so fixing the one I got's what I gotta do right now. So today I found a video. I was trying to find like fun stuff, because I don't know, I've just been in a mood where it's like, and the last couple days I feel like I love Gutsit Gibbons, but I don't know. I feel like that last video just kept going and going, and so I'm not going to finish that tonight, but maybe another day when I have more energy to like actually listen to some of that stuff and really think about it. But I was trying to find like fun stuff, and I was just going through like my list of stuff, and I saw this video pop up, and it was like, it's Ray Comfort, and he's apparently upset with Jennifer Lawrence and Meryl Streep because they said something. And he's going to tell us what they said and why he's so upset about it. So, yeah, that's what I decided to watch tonight. Good old Ray. Good old Banana Man. So, that's what we're going to do. And then after the video, I'm going to go to bed, because I have to get up early to take my car in. So, this rewind. Rewind. I don't know if you call it rewinding on YouTube, though. It's not really rewinding. It's not a VHS.
You have one day to live. What would you do? Show kindness to others? Or would you do this?
I mean, I guess I would do things that I've always been curious about, like pushing somebody onto the subway track.
These award-winning actors have gathered, no doubt, to fulfill contractual obligations to promote a new movie about a comet that's about to destroy the Earth.
The movie deals with the, impending end of the world. And, everyone always does. For years, people have done this game. If you have one day left, the world has one day left. And my answer is always like, well, I can cry and pray. But once you get past that point, what would you do if there was one day left?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I would do things that I've always been curious about, like pushing somebody onto the subway tracks.
Jen's all involved murder.
I would purge.
I finally brought that back.
Yeah, I would do the purge and then cuddle up to my loving family.
I'd basically do what you wrote at the end of this movie.
I don't know what I would do. I'd want to do something fun, because I'm like one of those people that likes to go have fun. And if money wasn't an object, because I'm going to be dead, like, then I would go to, like, Legoland or something with my kids for a day. Because for me, like, I think that's, like, the kind of stuff that I like to do. And being able to get out and just explore and see the world. I mean, I've always wanted to, like, travel and stuff. And it was always my dream to, like, go to Italy one day. My sister beat me there because she got to go a couple years ago. But, yeah, I don't know. I hope one day I have, like, the ability to travel more and, like, see more of the world. And, I think I kind of want my kids to do that, too, and not just be, you know, stuck in one place. Because I think about my life, and I've really not seen a whole lot of the world because, well, it's expensive to go see, you know, the world, but at the same time, like, life just kind of gets in the way and you don't get to always do the things that you want to do. And, so yeah. I mean, I would love, if I had like a week or something left, I would probably spend it just traveling with my family, because there's so many places and things that I would just love to go see that I've never seen, because I've, you know, lived in pretty much the same place almost my entire life, and I haven't really, like, stepped outside of that very much. Like, the only other place I've been other than, like, America is Mexico, and that was to go on, like, a mission trip with my church, well, not my church, my school, but I went to a Christian school, so, like, we went down there to, like, minister to the people down there and help them build a foundation for their church. So it was one of those, you know, they call it a mission trip, but it's really, a lot of it is just kids going on vacation and calling it a mission trip. Because, I mean, we went down there and we literally just hung out most of the time with the people and, like, the community and stuff. And then we went to Disneyland after, so it was, like, it was very much, and I mean, it was during spring break, so obviously they wanted us to have a little bit of fun, but yeah, I think traveling would be a big one on my list. And just spending time with my family, because, I mean, if I knew the world was going to end tomorrow, I would definitely spend all my time with my kiddos, because they're pretty much my life right now.
That's what I would do. That's why I loved the script. I was like, wow, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's just hang out and enjoy each other's company.
What about you, Mel?
I don't know. When you said that, I thought half my family's in California and half my family's on the East Coast. And I'm on press junket. And I would just probably get on the phone and curse, you know, you.
I'd basically do what you wrote at the end of this movie. That's what I would do. That's why I loved the script. I was like, wow, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's just hang out and enjoy each other's company.
You know, I tell people I actually get moved about how we all rallied together, the crew, the Teamsters, everyone really had to walk a straight and narrow to make this movie happen. There was no vaccine when we did this, so I love you guys so much.
This is not real. This isn't happening.
Something you don't like the looks of?
We discovered a very large comet.
Oh, good for you.
It's headed directly towards Earth.
This comet is what we call a planet killer.
I haven't seen Don't Look Up, but I also don't have Netflix, so I don't know if it's any good. If you guys have seen it, like, you can comment, but everyone tells me it's really good, but I just don't have the means to watch it right now. So maybe one day I'll actually get Netflix back and be able to watch it, but
Our guests today have made a pretty big discovery in space.
How big is this thing, though? Like, can it destroy my ex-wife's house? Is that possible?
There's a 100% chance that we're all going to die.
The director is the only one who says that he would cry and pray. Did you notice, though, that his voice trembled when he said the word day, when he asked what they would do if it wasn't make-believe?
So what would you do if there was one day left?
That's perhaps an indication that he's been thinking about the frightening reality that one day we will all only have one day to live. And that's without the help of an earth-destroying comet. And by the way, the movie horribly blasphemes the name of Jesus, and it contains 78 uses of the F word.
Oh my god.
This interview itself.
Did he use... I wonder if Ray... No, he didn't. There's no way he actually watched that and counted all of those. He must have got that from a website or something, because I can't see Ray Comfort sitting there listening to a movie that would curse that much. I think it would drive him absolutely bonkers. I don't think he could make it through that kind of movie.
It's filled with blasphemy, and these are the heroes of this world, those that they hold in high esteem. In truth, they're just people who are simply able to pretend in front of a camera. They can act and make us believe that their make-believe is actually real, and for that they're given prestigious awards and paid big money. Let me quote the one that these people hated enough to use his name as a cuss word in the movie. It's about a coming comet. It's the stone of the justice of God. Jesus said, "And whoever falls on the stone will be broken, but on whomsoever it falls, it will grind him to powder." If we humble ourselves and fall upon the stone, Jesus is called the stone of stumbling in Scripture, our sins will be washed away. But if we refuse to obey the gospel and die in our sins, the wrath of God's justice will fall on us and grind us to powder. What does that mean? Well,
And if we pick the wrong God, and it's a different God, then that God's wrath will fall on us and we'll end up in their hells. So this is an ongoing issue with Christianity, is the fact that they don't use the same rationale for other religions as they do for their own religion. It's very much like, our religion is the true religion, so only our religion makes sense. But if I look at any of these other religions, because I believe them to be false, then that can't happen. And it's always interesting to me, thinking about it, and honestly, asking Christians, what would you do if you died and you had to stand before Allah? And Allah was really, technically Allah and Yahweh are supposed to be the same God, but Christians don't follow what the Quran says, so they would end up in, hell, Muslim hell. How can you sit there and say that you have truth if this other religion has the exact same, idea of heaven and hell and the exact same ways in which that can happen? The only difference is that it is a God that you don't believe in. And it's really interesting just to think about that, because I think about that a lot, of the fact that if I had stayed in Christianity, would there ever come a point where somebody would ask me, why I chose the God I did, and ask me, what would happen if I died and it was a completely different God? And what would happen if that God sent me to hell because I chose to be a Christian? That is something that I think about often, is how many Christians think about that, and the idea that they could be wrong and they could be following a false God and the real God could send them to hell. I think there's a high probability that could happen. I'm not saying that I have any evidence to support that, but I'm just saying if they truly, truly believe that their religion is, the one true religion, and all these other religions believe that they have the one true religion, one of them has to be, well, not one of them, but I mean, it's quite probable that one of them could be right, but I mean, it's a higher probability that none of them are right, and we know that, and that's, you know, why a lot of us are atheists. But at the same time, that is definitely a question I ponder a lot about Christians and how they just have a blindfold on when it comes to other religions. And they're not willing to look at other religions and go, oh, if I don't follow this, 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 and this, and if this religion is true, then I'm going to end up in their hell, or their afterlife, or the way that they judge in the end. I mean, who's to say that the Egyptian gods aren't, you know, the ones, and you end up dying, and or you end up in the, is it the underworld, and is that Roman mythology? I always get Greek and Roman mythology mixed up because they're so, like, close together and they have a lot of similarities that it's so difficult to, like, separate them and, like, remember which is which. And I try to remember from, like, the movie Hercules because I watched that a lot as a kid, but I guess Hercules was Greek, huh? So that would have been... So the underworld would be Hades. Yeah, what if we died and we all end up in the underworld with Hades? Like, it's very interesting to see the mindset of religious people and how they don't apply that same logic to other religions. And that's a huge reason why, for me, Pascal's wager doesn't work, because you would either have to believe in every single god that ever existed and follow every single god that existed in order for it to work. And that's impossible because there's an endless amount of gods that have been created throughout, you know, the time that man has been on this planet. But at the same time, if you pick one and it's the wrong one, you're screwed. Like, you're gonna end up somewhere that you probably don't want to be, or you'll just die, which, you know, in my research and everything that I've looked into, I honestly don't believe that there's any reason to believe there's anything after the life that we have here. You know, life is special and sacred because it's the one thing we know we have now. It's not special and sacred because we worship a god or because we believe in some higher power. For me, it's special and sacred because this is the one life I know I get. This is the one life I know that I get to choose what I want to do with. And who I want to, you know, be around, and the things that I want to do in my life, and, you know, not allow things in my life that I don't want. So... But for me, like, religion is the ultimate con, because anyone can promise you something that they can't prove. And it just takes people who aren't willing to really dive into those questions and ask them and really see what's happening to fall prey to those manipulations and things that they use within the church in order to get you to stay inside the church. And yeah, it sucks. It sucks that so many people are, you know, brought into this system and indoctrinated in a way that makes it hard for them to see anything outside of what they've been taught. And, you know, slowly over time I see that falling away. I was talking about that last night, about, you know, fundamentalism dying out and things like that, so... Well, let's hope.
Something's ground to powder, a thorough job has been done. Nothing is left, and God's justice will be so thorough on the day of judgment, He will judge right down to our thought life, to our deeds done in darkness, and even every idle word that we've spoken. No one will get away with a thing. The frustration in this movie is that the people they're trying to reach wouldn't simply believe that they're in danger. And we have the same problem. But this problem of impending death and consequent damnation isn't Hollywood make-believe. While I hated hearing Meryl Streep
It's not Hollywood make-believe. It's religious make-believe. Which is not much different. It's just a system created in order to control people and to make them think that they have all the answers when in reality they lack a lot of the answers and a lot of the things that we actually know about reality.
blaspheme God's name so often in this interview, my heart went out to her. Listen carefully to the cry of her heart.
What?
Meryl, how was it for you?
I found it really hard, really, really hard, because I was aware that my character was funny. I didn't feel funny in the lockdown, you know. And I was living up at home because we live up in the Berkshires, so that's about a 3-hour drive from Boston. And when I would come in to shoot my stuff, I'd get in my car, put my dog in there, and drive, get out of the car, and hadn't spoken to anybody like in 3 weeks, and walk into the stadium in Worcester, put on the wig and put on the nails and put on the face and the suit and the thing, walk up to the Jumbotron, there's my face 40 feet tall, and make a speech to all these people. And I lost it. I forgot how to act. I forgot what I was about, or what am I? I'm this thing all put together of little component parts, and it sort of dismantles your humanity to be isolated like that.
She wasn't talking about the movie character. She was talking about herself. She's in utter darkness, and none of her fellow actors could give her light because they're in the same place.
She's not talking about being in utter darkness, right? She's talking about the isolation that we felt because of COVID. It sucks. It sucks that a lot of us have had to be trapped in our homes and not be around the people we love. And it sucks that we have to, only see people that we might have seen, every day or whatever, just through your computer screen, because you needed to separate for a while in order to protect yourself and them. Because some of those people were vulnerable, way more vulnerable to the virus than we were. She's not talking about this deep theological thing that you're talking about. She's talking about human connection and the need that we need for other humans. Because that's just a huge part of being a human being. We need connection with other human beings. We need that ability to talk to other people and show them love and give them a hug and tell them how our day went. That's just a part of our human nature. It has nothing to do with God or some, whatever people believe in. It's just that human connection that we all need.
These are ordinary people who have made a name for themselves in Vanity Fair, and it often takes a lifetime for them to realize that life without knowing God is futile. It's chasing the wind. The tragic irony is that the one they so hate, Jesus Christ, is the only one that can save them from death. And by the way,
I don't think I've heard any of these people say they hate Jesus. I don't know. I don't know if any of these people actually claim to be atheists or not. But even if they are atheists, that doesn't mean they hate God or they hate Jesus. I think that is very much something the church has made up in order to make atheists look worse, or somehow make atheists seem like they know God exists, but they're not willing to follow him or do what he wants because we hate him. But the problem is, you can't hate something that you don't believe exists. Not in that way. Yes, I can hate a villain in, a movie because he's the villain. But I don't hate him in, reality. Because that person who's playing the villain on the screen, I know that's not who they are in real life. I know that it's just a character. And it's the same with God of the Bible. For atheists, can't hate something that we don't really believe in, because to us, God is just a character in a book. It's the same as, like, hating Voldemort, but to the point where, like, we know that Voldemort doesn't exist, so we're not hating. We just hate, like, the idea of what he is, as opposed to, like, I don't know. I'm not explaining this very well, but for me, I can't hate God because I don't believe God exists. I very much hate the idea that made God. I hate the idea that someone put this terrible being into this book and made him a horrible character who is not nice to people and basically hates people for just being people. But I don't hate God in a way of like, oh, he's up there, he's gonna judge me, I hate him. That's not a thing. And I didn't walk away from the church because, like, I hate God. I walked away from the church because I looked at the evidence that was presented to me and I realized that it was lacking. And it was very skewed in a way that made it seem like Christianity was true, when in reality, they skewed it in a way to make an agenda to make the church look like that, like they knew what they were talking about, when they didn't have, like, they either didn't have a clue or they're purposely hiding evidence of other things that we know have happened on the planet and they don't want you to know about, because if you have this knowledge that, like, evolution is true, or you have this knowledge that you know, we have evidence of background radiation for the Big Bang, or I don't know, the billions of other, like, things that we have found on the planet that make the Bible stories basically obsolete, just show us that the Bible was a tool for a long time. It was a tool to spread propaganda for a long time. And the church had a monopoly on it for a long time because they didn't let people look at it. They didn't let people explore, like, who wrote the Bible and where it came from and what it actually said in it. I mean, for years, people were completely unable, like, they were illiterate, but they also weren't even allowed to have a Bible. Like, the church made sure that people didn't have their own copies of the Bible because the church wanted to, you know, keep this narrative that they had created. And the only way they could do that is if they kept control and they kept power. And they did that by not allowing other people to have the Bible and have the ability to look at it themselves. And that's backfired on them today, because now we live in a society where people are educated, people are not illiterate. Most of, at least, the Western world is, you know, very much literate to the point where, like, not just they can read, but they can understand what they read too, you know. And, you know, we have so much more access to information. You know, they talk about us being in the information age, and it's so true, because not only do I have a Bible in my house, I have like 4 or 5 Bibles in my house, and they're all different versions. And, you know, I also have, well, I used to have, I don't have anymore because I lended it to someone and I never got it back, but, you know, I used to have a Book of Mormon, and you know, I have books from atheist authors, I have books from Christian authors, I have books on so many different things, but it's not just books that I have. Like, I have the internet, I have YouTube, you know, I have so much information just at my fingertips in my phone that there should be no reason in my life to ever sit there and really allow someone to, like, saturate my thoughts in a way that they would indoctrinate me, because if they're sitting up there telling me something, I should be able to make sure that what they're telling me is true, that it lines up with reality, that it lines up with the evidence that we have. And if it doesn't, then I know they're either lying, or they're completely ignorant of it, or they're hiding something. So, and yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I can tell you right now, it was not something I ever thought would happen to me. I never, ever, ever believed that I would come to a point where I wouldn't believe in God. And it was hard to let go of that. But at the same time, like, I like me now, so. Cat hair everywhere. My kitty cat was on me.
Man never looks so small as when he puts himself onto a big throne. Now watch this. Recently, a police officer was tragically shot and killed in Texas, responding to a domestic dispute. Here is his precious daughter, at his funeral, putting into practice what I've been so inadequately trying to say.
Home has felt lonely without him here. I keep waiting for him to pull up in the driveway, to come inside and tell us about some crazy car chase he got into. You never knew. It was always a surprise what he had gotten into that day. However, there was no heavier surprise than to receive a call that your dad had been shot and killed. It will be a day I never forget. There has been anger, sadness, grief, and confusion, and part of me wishes I could despise the man who did this to my father. But I can't get any part of my heart to hate him. All that I can find is myself hoping and praying for this man to truly know Jesus. My prayer is that someday down the road, I'd get to spend some time with the man who shot my father. Not to scream at him, not to yell at him, not to scold him, simply to tell him about Jesus.
The comet
Back to the man on the street stuff. Here we go.
is going to hit the earth and wipe everybody out. How would you spend your last day?
Get some ice cream, just enjoy the day.
In bed.
Just lying there doing nothing.
That sounds great.
No, seriously, how would you spend your last day?
My last day? Honestly, I would just get a nice shaker, martini, have some cocktails, and honestly be with a couple of women. And let's just end it that way. Yeah, well, what else you want to do?
Would you pray?
Sounds like a good
Pray
day.
for what? You're already dead. It's already on its way. But
Yep.
accept it. There's nothing you can do. Live in the moment and move on.
Do you think there's an
There
afterlife?
you go.
Of course there is.
Do you believe in God?
Absolutely.
Do you think God hears prayer?
Buddy, he hears everything.
Yeah, but don't you believe the Bible, what it says about if I have sin in my heart?
I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in the Roman Catholic Church. I don't believe in any of these fictitious religions that make money.
What do you think about Jesus?
That's the man.
So do you believe what he said?
Absolutely. And if you don't, you got problems. So Jesus had made these statements. Prophets have made prophecies. Do you think any of these came true from reading the Bible?
Oh, yes. I'm going to take you through the 10 Commandments
Nope.
to see how you're going to do on Judgment
Can
Day.
we just do 5? It's kind of raining out here.
Okay,
I'm
we'll,
gonna get wet.
Just
we'll
do
do 4.
5.
Okay, here's to see if you're a good person. How many lies have you told in your life?
My whole life is a lie. Next.
Yes. Have you ever stolen something?
Of course.
So you're a lying thief?
I don't like to steal.
Have you ever used God's name in vain?
Never.
OMG?
Is that in vain?
Oh, yes. It's not giving it due honor.
OMG.
Jesus said if you look at a woman and lust for her, you commit adultery with her in your heart. Have you ever looked at a woman with lust?
I was looking at your friend right now with lust. Of course.
Have you had sex?
I'm a man.
Have you had sex before marriage?
I love this guy too. It's like that other guy that was like trolling him last time. I love the ones that are just like, you know what, dude, you do you, I'll do me. Like, this is who I want to be. Good for him. good for him for living his life and not letting this guy make him feel, not letting him, Ray make him feel like he's in the wrong.
Of course. Would I look nuts to you? Not to?
I'm not judging you, Mario, but you've told me you're a lying, thieving, blasphemous,
I mean, you
fornicating,
are
adulterer
judging
at
him.
heart.
You asked me if I ever lie. Everyone lies. Okay? A thief I am not. I don't believe in robbing anyone.
Didn't you say you'd stolen? You ever stolen something?
Of course.
You've never taken anything that belongs to somebody else?
I'm thinking about taking... No, but I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about.
Okay, so, Mario, if you die in your sins, you've got God's promise you'll end up in hell. No thief will inherit God's kingdom, neither any liar or fornicator or blasphemer. So you may not be concerned that you'll go to hell. You may joke at all. Hang on, let me finish. You may not be concerned you'll end up in hell if you die today, but I am. I love you. I care about you. I've just met you, but I want to see you in heaven, not in hell.
If we are to believe in Jesus' words, which I do, every human being at that time, if you truly, truly forgive everything that you've done and ask for forgiveness, you will be forgiven and you will enter the kingdom of heaven.
Well, the Bible says differently. You know what it says?
You know what's it say?
It says Christ died for our sins. He took our punishment on that cross. We broke the law. He paid the fine. And when we repent and trust in him, God forgives our sins for Christ's sake. In other words, if you're in court and someone pays your fine, a judge can legally let you go. And God can legally let us go because Jesus paid the fine in his life's blood through the cross, rose from the dead, defeated death.
Okay, but most crimes are, hey, tons. That doesn't work if you go to jail, though. Like, somebody can't just pay to get you out of jail. Like, if they say you have to go to jail for, 5 years, you have to go to jail for 5 years. Unless they, let you out on good behavior. You have that kind of stuff. But do you think it's fair that someone else pays for you to get out of, a crime that you committed? I don't think that's okay. I mean, I don't know. That's the hard thing about, Christianity is this whole idea that someone else has to pay for your crimes, and it's like, why are we told that I have to go to jail for 5 years, but I just got home from work. No, it doesn't make any sense. Why would we have someone else go to jail for us? And it goes back to that whole idea that I said in the beginning. If God really wanted everyone to go to heaven, I mean, he could have just forgiven everybody. That's one way. But, the other way could have been, Jesus dies and goes to hell for everybody. So Jesus suffers that punishment for everyone forever. And everyone else gets to go to hell or heaven. Why did God not do that? There's so many other better ways for that could played out, and they still, and I know Christians will make up the excuses oh, God's ways are mysterious, his ways are higher than ours, we don't understand the mind of God, all these things that basically are cop-outs to the idea that they don't want to answer that question, and they don't want to dive deep into those theological ideas because it makes them look like either they don't have an answer or they're just making an excuse because they don't have, well, it's basically they don't have an answer. And we know that. But I just think about all of the different ways that things could have played out. And I have brought up that whole idea too, is when we were talking about the resurrection the other day and how Jesus appeared to all those people. And for me, I watched Myth Vision this last week, and they were talking about how the Jesus narrative that is told in the Gospels very much lines up with, the idea of ghost stories in that cultural time period that they had. I mean, they had ghost stories during that time, and he had a guy on there that wrote a book called The Resurrection as a Ghost Story, which I don't believe in ghosts, But I do believe that our minds get messed up when we go through grief. And when I was talking to those Christians the other day, that was a big thing for me because, you know, growing up, I had a mom who very much believed in ghosts. She believed that they were demons pretending to be people. But like I was telling them on the show the other night, I'm like, well, how do we not know that the things that people claim to have seen were not just, grief hallucinations? Because when I was 15, my dad died, and my mom claimed to have seen his ghost around, like, the week he died. So, and for me, like, even though I was still a Christian then, like, I never saw anything, I never heard anything, I just, believed what my mom had told me. But from her past experiences and things like that that I have heard, I truly believe that my mom thinks she saw something. Like, I truly believe she saw something. Just like the disciples truly believed that they saw Jesus. But during that time, she was going through grief because she had just lost her husband. Like, this was not something that was expected. It was a tragedy. It was something that she wasn't expecting, and her brain was trying to function during this time of tragedy and grief. And that's what I was telling them the other night on the Christian channel, was like, it really makes more sense to me as a hallucination, or, your brain malfunctioning, because they talk about, like, Jesus appears. He just appears out of nowhere, and then he walks through a wall, and, he does a lot of things that you would hear in ghost stories. So that kind of made a lot more sense to me when I heard that on Myth Vision, and it kind of clicked with me too because of my past and the things that I've had growing up being around a mom who believes in ghosts and things like that. And it kind of all just came together and clicked in my head that makes so much sense to me. The disciples are part of the myth too. Of course Superman can fly. Lois Lane saw him do it. Yeah, that is definitely something that I struggle with too. Because when I was talking to them, like, they very much believe in the historical Christ, and I think he was, like, trying to get me on that the other night, because he's like, well, there's all this evidence, and, like, I told him, I'm like, I don't go either direction, because I've seen evidence for both sides, and I think both sides have good evidence to back up why they believe what they believe. But for me, it's not a big deal of whether Jesus existed or not, because, I mean, the only reason that would be a big deal to me is if I really wanted Christianity to be true and I really wanted to believe it. Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to me to, like, if he was a real person or not. Because regardless if he was a real person or not, this religion that was created around him exists. It doesn't mean he had to be a real person. And it doesn't mean that he wasn't a real person. It just doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't have any effect on anything, because I don't believe in the Bible, so. And I don't know, I kind of get frustrated with the whole, like, infighting within the atheist community about that too, because it's like, I see both sides, and I see both sides having good evidence for whichever sides they have, and I guess it's kind of frustrating to see people fight over something that can't be proven. But at the same time, I'm sitting here, like, fighting against something. Well, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Christianity can be proven, but, Christians would say the opposite. But for me, if something's true, it's true. If something's not true, it's not true. And that was the big thing I was trying to say the other night, was like, it doesn't really matter to me if all the Gospels, I mean, even if all the Gospels were 100% accurate, that means nothing, because the other, like, what, 85% of the book, like, isn't true, and we know it isn't true. To sit there and say, like, you believe in the Bible and that you believe that the Gospels are true, but we have all this evidence that the rest of the Bible isn't true. It's like, why would you pick just the part that, you know, basically tells the story of what you already believe, but you're willing to get rid of all the parts that show you that from the beginning this book wasn't true? I don't know. And it really frustrates me that people with, like, I believe it's William Lane Craig's line, why would the disciples die for their belief in Jesus? Well, why did the people who flew the planes into the World Trade Center, you know, believe they were going to heaven? Like, it's indoctrination. It has nothing to do with, you know, reality. It has everything to do with how they've been indoctrinated and how they have been trained to believe something, whether it exists or not. And I hate that thing from William Lane Craig, because we have no proof that any of them died for a lie, because we don't have any proof that any of them really did die from martyrdom. That's also a huge myth in the church, because a lot of the things that people claim that back those things up are, once again, they're myths told by the church. Like, there's no evidence that these things happened. There's no evidence that, you know, yeah, they claimed, like, Peter was crucified upside down, and they claimed that one of them was boiled in a pot, and I'm trying to think of all the ways that supposedly the disciples died. But not once do they say, like, they were killed because they refused to tell people that they didn't believe that Jesus, you know, they honestly believed that Jesus was the Messiah, and they could have saved themselves by just saying, I don't believe. Like, I don't feel like any of that was part of those myths. And even if it was part of the myths, the problem is they're myths. We have nothing to back them up. It's all hearsay. And eyewitness testimony, that one really drives me crazy too. That was a big one they were talking about the other night too, was just like, oh, eyewitness testimony. And I'm like, do you realize in a court of law, like, eyewitness testimony is the worst piece of evidence you can give? The worst. Like, they hate that. They want, like, actual, tangible proof for things. They don't want eyewitness testimony, because we know that our brains aren't, you know, photogenic. We don't just take pictures in our brains and remember things correctly. We remember some things, and the things we don't remember, we fill in with whatever. And that's how our brains work. So, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating to me to just... Like I said the other night, I feel like I was talking in circles sometimes, because it's like no matter what you say, because these people are so indoctrinated, they're going to cling on to any piece of evidence that they can, to keep that myth alive, to keep that idea that what they believe is true alive, regardless of the fact that there's so many pieces of evidence that just disprove the Bible in general. And that's why I said it's frustrating to talk to Christians, because, you know, most of them who came on the other night said that they were genuinely seeking truth. But it's hard to say you're genuinely seeking truth when you read the other side and just completely dismiss it because it doesn't line up with what you already believe. Or, like I said, they twist things, and they use mental gymnastics to really weave things into their narrative to make it work so that they can hold on to their religion. And I mean, that's fine. If they want to believe in something that has many proofs that it's not true. Like, that's, I mean, it's their lives. They're allowed to do that. I just wish people would use more critical thinking skills when it comes to that kind of stuff and not start with the conclusion. Alright, let's get back to Banana Man.
And if you'll simply repent of your sin, turn from it, Ray.
Ray.
Yeah, don't change the subject.
I'm not going to change the subject. I'm going to capitalize on the subject. If you're one of those people, Ray, that just like to quote the Bible, quote verse for verse, remember what Jesus said when he talked to the Jewish priests, when he says, "This temple I will bring down and rise in 3 days." And they said it's took centuries to build this temple. They didn't get it, because that's not the temple he's talking about.
That's
he was
right.
talking about the Bible. So that's something that you and a lot of other people need to reflect on. Even if you're not a betting man, it pays to bet on Jesus and the Blessed Mother. I gotta go.
Listen, okay,
Oh.
nice to talk to you, man. Can I give you a gift?
So I'm gonna assume that he said Blessed Mother though, and he just said he's not Roman Catholic. That's confusing. I do like that he used scripture against Ray though. That was, I mean, I don't believe, obviously I'm an atheist. I don't believe in the Bible and I don't believe in scripture, but I wish I could like memorize more scripture, because I feel like that would have helped me the other night when I was talking to. Have you ever read The Jilting of Granny Weatherall? I have not. I've never even heard of that book. There's so many books I want to read right now. I just don't have time. Like, I need to just start getting audiobooks and listening to them when I clean my house and do other things, because oh my goodness. I have not heard of that tons. I want to read the new Francesca's new book, Anatomy, The Anatomy of God. I was going to see if my library had it, because I love my library here. We have an amazing library where I live, so I mean, they're all like connected, so you can go to any one of them in the city, and then they have the online stuff too that you can just download the audiobook like straight to your phone or your Kindle or whatever you have. So I need to just start doing that too when I like go clean the church. Just like start listening to audiobooks instead of music. Although music helps too, because it gives me energy to clean. Yeah.
Gift?
I'm good. Give it to somebody that needs it.
Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell, and make sure you don't miss the Living Waters podcast.
Jesus stands Granny up at her death. Oh. It's not good. Yeah, I have not heard of that. Might have to look that one up. Oh yeah. Mr. Comfort. Well, we got to listen to Ray talk about Ray stuff. Sounds like he was just angry at the fact that there was, like, a movie. He doesn't seem to be very happy about, the movie Don't Look Up. I have not seen it. If I ever get Netflix one day, maybe, but I don't have Netflix anymore. I lost my subscription, so more like it was a family thing, and now since our family is in 2 separate houses, I don't have it anymore. But that's okay. I have plenty of other things. Maybe one day they'll put it out on something else other than Netflix. Who knows? I am kind of sad that I don't have Netflix anymore, though, because they're talking about making a season 2 of Squid Games. And I got sucked into that one. man, that was crazy and good at the same time. But there's so many unanswered questions. I'm just like, no. Oh, and Cobra Kai just came out too, and I can't watch that. I watched all these shows on Netflix when I had it, and now I don't have it. Oh well. I guess I don't really use a lot of my streaming stuff anyway, though, because, like, I have Paramount and, my brain is not working right now. HBO. Paramount, HBO. I have another one. I can't remember. Amazon. There we go. I was like, what's the other one? But I don't really watch that much, because most of the time when I watch stuff, I just go on YouTube, because, like, I want to find videos and something. I can do something about seasons 1 to 3 of Cobra Kai for you. Those are the ones I've seen, though, right? Because this season's 4. I've seen all the earlier seasons. I just haven't seen the one that just came out. Something else came out, too. I saw there was new episodes. Oh! Ozark! Crap! Dang it! All of these freaking shows that, like, left on cliffhangers, and now I'm like, dang, I don't have Netflix to watch them anymore. That's fine. Maybe I'll get Netflix again one day if I ever make enough money to have Netflix. Like, I hear a lot of people are, like, jumping off the Netflix bandwagon, though, because they keep upping their prices. Which is ridiculous, because everything else is still, like, super cheap except Netflix. I think when we canceled, well, yeah, when we canceled ours, it was like at $15 a month. When we were paying like $4 or $5 on Hulu, and like, oh, Disney Plus too. But even Disney, I think, is only like $5 or $6. Like, Netflix is like double what everyone else wants, and it's like, what? Why? I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. Price gouging. If they get too high, though, people are gonna just stop. If you find yourself in Arkansas, you can crash on my couch. I don't know why I know so many people in Arkansas now. I think like half of my group on here is from Arkansas. Because I think there's at least 3 people on here that I know that live in Arkansas. And then, like, the rest of, like, the atheist group, or a lot of the other, like, atheist people in the atheist group I know are, like, from Canada. So it's, like, Arkansas and Canada. I got Jake, though. He's in Seattle, so he's close to me. Like, if I ever want to go see someone else. Actually, no. I have 2 other people that are close to me now, because I forgot. Because Bolt lives by me now. Like, I didn't know Bolt lived by me. We live on the same side of town. Yeah, Bolt lives by me. Because he said he lives up on the Washington side of Oregon, which is where I live. I live really close to the border. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I found out that Divine Disbeliefs live by me too. And they keep writing me to come hang out with them sometime, and I keep forgetting, like, we need to find a time to do that, because I do want to, like, start hanging out with people who live close to me. And maybe one day I'll make it up to Seattle, or Jake will come down here and we can hang out, so. I'm, like, slowly finding all the, like, Pacific Northwesterners over here. There's Bolt. Hey, Bolt's here. Yeah. So I know at least 4 people who live close to me, which is nice. Because when all this started, I feel like the closest people to me were, like, the Canadians, like Neil and Randolph and them, but I'm slowly starting to find more people in my neck of the woods, so, and that's fun. And once COVID is over, maybe we can have more hangouts and stuff with people around here. Your lurking and streaming is muted. Hi, Bolt. Nice. Yeah, so it is fun to, like, find out when people live closer to you, because you feel like you can have not just, like, online relationships, but, like, actually have friendships with people in real life. Like, and especially since, I mean, I talked about, like, when I left the church, like, I lost... Okay, stream is quiet. My stream? Can you hear me? Or your stream? I don't know what you're talking about. Am I too quiet? I need to talk more into my mic. Oh, okay, you have the volume down. No, it's like, when I left the church, I lost all of my friends. And, whoa, my light's flickering. So, like, a big thing for me was, like, finding this online community, obviously, because I didn't have that community anymore. But now, like, seeing that there are people around me that I can actually, like, not just talk to online, but, like, actually hang out with, and it's a clown. But, you know, actually have relationships with people that you've talked to online, and not just be, like, say hi every, you know, 5 days or whatever. Pennywise! Yeah. But I'm hoping that once things settle down, I can have more time to, like, build those kind of relationships outside of just the online community, because I think that would be really nice. And, like, when Neil and Randolph finally start their, like, True North talk, they talked about, like, doing events and stuff, so since I am close to them too, I might have to go up to some of those too, so. And maybe one day my dream to go to Faithless Forum, even though I've only been online. Well, that's the thing, like, Faithless Forum has been around for a little bit, because I remember before I even, like, got online to do, like, my online stuff, I like, saw people going to it and stuff. You may be a very old lady when yeah, by the way it's going, who knows, right? I liked Neil's show the other night where he was showing all the memes that people made for the True North Talk stuff, because they just keep talking about it and nothing happens. I do miss, like, the days when Randolph would be in the background building the set, though, and the studio. Those were always fun. Because I would just sit there on stream and, like, listen to everybody talk, but then I would, like, watch Randolph build, you know, all the stuff in the background, so. I think a lot of people like that. A lot of people tuned in just to watch Randolph build the studio. Like, we need to see how far it is today. Man, that seems like forever ago now, because... and I don't think it was that long ago. That's what's so crazy. It's like, that was probably a few months ago, but it seems like years. These last 2 years have just been, like... It's so weird. They go by, like, super slow and super fast at the same time. It's been an odd couple years, but hopefully things get back to normal one day. Who knows? Who knows? But 'tis life. I'm just rambling now, because that's what I do. I am gonna have to go to bed, though, eventually, because I do have to take my car to the mechanic in the morning. 10 years COVID time, but just last summer in real time. I know, that's how I feel. Yeah, we were talking about, like, the election tonight, and we were like, oh yeah, that was in 2020. And then we're like, that was only 2 years ago. And we're all like, it does not seem like it was only 2 years ago. You're gonna ask about my car? Yeah. I called, and they said I have to bring it in at 8 tomorrow, so... tomorrow's gonna be chaos. Because I have to take my car in the morning, and then my mother-in-law is gonna come and pick me and my kids up after we drop the car off and take us home. And then I'm gonna have to walk my kids to, like, get my kids ready for school, and then I'm gonna have to walk them to school, and then I'm gonna have to go home, and I'm gonna have to get ready for work, and then I'm gonna have to walk to work, because it's all behind my house. So tomorrow I'm gonna get a lot of walking in, so I'll get a lot of exercise. Hopefully it doesn't rain. But yeah. And then I don't know how long it's gonna take. We'll see. My coworker that I work with, we get off at the same time, and she said that if they get it done, like, before or around the time that we get off, that she would give me a ride over to the mechanic. So we'll see what happens. If not, I might just have to call my in-laws again, or my soon-to-be ex-husband, to help me get the car, because I'm gonna have the kids, and like, I mean, I would just walk over there because it's only a few blocks, but little kids do not like to walk, even if it's just a few blocks sometimes. So yeah, yikes. I mean, last time I took the car in, the last time, like, I had to take the car into the mechanics, because I mean, it's not that far away from me, but it's far enough away that, like, it takes some time. I think it took me, like, a half an hour to get there, or to get back to my house. But yeah, last time, like, my kids were in school, and my husband was at work, so I had to take my car over with my bike, and then ride my bike back home, and then, like, 20 minutes after I got home, because it took me like a half an hour to get home on my bike, and then when I got home, like 20 minutes later, they called me and they're like, it's done, and then I had to ride my bike all the way back. So I got some exercise that day too, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I could always take a bus, but I don't know if I want to deal with that either, because then I have to, like, buy a bus pass, and it's just a whole mess. It's a mess. We'll figure it out. I'll make it work. I always do. We'll make it work. But hopefully it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg, and I can get it fixed, because lots of clowns on the bus. I think there's more clowns on the train than the bus here. But, you know, who knows? I haven't really ridden the bus. Yes, we do live really close. I live a lot closer to you than I thought I did. Because I live, yeah. I live really close to the border. Like, my sister lives in Vancouver, so it only takes me a half an hour to get to her house. Yeah. Yeah, my sister's in Vancouver. Both my sisters are in Vancouver, and I'm on the other side. I'm by the airport. Go watch all the planes fly away. No need to be too specific. Yeah, I know. I'm cautious with that stuff, but yeah. Yuppity doodah. Yeah, I definitely need to, like, hang out with more people. Coffee in public place. Yes. Yes. Although I'll probably drink hot chocolate, but that's okay. Because I'm not a coffee person. I'm a soda person. Although I'm trying to cut back on my soda, but, you know. That's really hard when you're a mom. Oh, you don't like coffee either? We need to find something else to do. I was gonna say, food's good. It's good to have food and talk, right? Yes, lunch is probably better then. Yeah, I'm not a huge coffee drinker, and I'm trying to cut back on, like, the soda, but I'm a mom, so I need some type of caffeine in me, so... When you got 2 young boys, it's like you gotta have something to keep you going all day. So... Yeah, like, when I first lost my, like, community, I looked at some of, like, the... Because they have, like, meetup groups and stuff online that you can go look at. And they had, like, secular ones and, like, atheist ones. But I never really, like, went to any of those. I always saw, like, the nights they had them or whatever, but I never actually went. Pepsi? Ugh. No, thank you. I'm a Coke fan all the way. I don't like Pepsi. And apparently Pepsi is, like, being boycotted right now anyway. Pepsi's not Pepsi. Yeah. Yeah, I saw Pepsi was being boycotted on Twitter yesterday. I forgot why, but... Oh, 'cause they're, that's why. Apparently they gave a bunch of money to the GOP to, like, stop abortions or something. It's fine, I don't like Pepsi anyway. I've always liked Coke better. Coke products, oh yeah. I like my, regular Coke and my vanilla Coke. They changed the Coke can, though. It used to, like, be... The vanilla one used to be, like, bold. Red and, like, had, like, not white, but, like, yellowish stripes on it. And they just changed it to, like, pure, like, dark yellow color. I was wondering why they didn't have vanilla Coke in stores for a while, and I'm wondering it's because they changed the cans. But I know we're also going through, like, shortages of stuff, too. So who knows, you know? I mean, sometimes I'll go in and they don't have any soda. Or, like, when we had the snowstorm, there was no water. Because everyone went and bought all the water. Which sucked, because I was out of bottled water that week. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go get bottled water. And then I went to the store and I was like, there's no soda or water because there's snow coming. And everybody in Oregon's like, we can't drive in snow, so let's just go buy everything in the stores right now. Oh my gosh, my life. It's true, though, because everything shuts down. Like, nothing stays open when it snows here. It's like an apocalypse. Like, if we get just an inch of snow, nobody can go anywhere. And all the stores close, and all the businesses close. I do wonder if anybody, like, moves here from, like, a place that has snow and, like, actually, like, knows how to drive in the snow and stuff. And then they see everything here shut down and be like, what is happening? Like, I don't think I've met anyone yet that has, like, had to deal with that, but I do wonder if there's anyone. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's some people that are like, this is ridiculous. Why do you shut everything down? But same here, and they eat the snow? What? That's weird. Why? I don't know, one of my coworkers said that we're supposed to, like... She said that she's been, like, watching... I don't know what weather she's been watching, but she said, like, the weather people keep saying we're gonna have, like, a really bad February this year. And we're supposed to have, like, snow days and stuff, so... I don't know. I don't know where she's getting her information, but she really thinks it's going to happen. She thinks we're gonna just get pounded with snow in February, so she's, like, getting ready for it. But the upside of snow days, I still get paid even if I don't go to work, so... This is the first job that I've had, like, benefits in, so it's been really nice. Like, I was talking to people the other day, and I'm like, I've never had a job with benefits before. It's like, all the jobs I've worked have been, like... I mean, even the job I have now is hourly, but... They never had benefits. Even when I was a manager at Abby's, there was no benefits. I just got paid, like, a few bucks extra. But, like... This job, I'm just an hourly person. Snow cream? That sounds nasty. Like, what? I guess it would kind of be like, oh, what do they call those? Shaved ice? Kind of like shaved ice. Here's $5, go to Baskin Robbins. Yeah, but they're closed. They can't go get ice cream. The snow's in the way. They can't go get that stuff. They gotta do what they already got. It does sound a lot like shaved ice, though. But with shaved ice, like, you put flavoring on it, not sugar. I've never in my life heard of anybody eating snow with sugar before. I have a recipe to, like, make snow into ice cream or something that, like, my grandma sent me. But I've never heard of just taking sugar and putting it on snow and eating it. Okay. That's an odd one. Oh, it's getting late. I'm gonna have to go to bed. Snow cream is flavored by the Industrial Revolution. Oh, God. It sounds nasty. It just doesn't sound like something you would want. Well, I don't have much else to say. We already watched Ray, so... probably won't be on tomorrow since... Southerns live for it, yeah. I'm not from the South. My mom is. That's why my friends think I'm weird that I drink sweet iced tea, because I was raised by someone who was, like, born and raised in, like, Illinois and Tennessee and Kentucky, so. So, yeah. I do get made fun of sometimes for, like, why in the world do you drink sweet iced tea? And I'm just like, because that's what I was raised on. Like, what are you talking about? This is normal. And then people look at me and go, this is not normal. Apparently, a lot of Pacific Northwesterners do not drink sweet iced tea. That is a Southern thing, so. I think that's, like, one of the only, like, Southern things I really have, though. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other Southern things from my childhood that I just didn't realize were Southern, because my mom is from there, but... It is funny, too, because when people meet my mom, they're like, where is she from? Because she definitely has an accent. Invite them over for snow cream. Yeah. And she always says wash instead of wash. My ex-husband pointed that out to me. He's like, why did she say wash? And I'm like, what? She does. like, you don't see, like, when you grow up around that stuff, you don't really hear it, I guess. You're just used to it, but it's funny when, like, someone else points it out to you and you're like, what? You're like, oh, that's not a normal thing people say where I'm from. Because I was, like, born and raised in Oregon, not, you know, Tennessee. I mean, I've been to Tennessee. I've been to Paris, Tennessee. I have a picture of myself with the Eiffel Tower in Paris, Tennessee. I just scooped this up out of the backyard, y'all. Dig in. Ugh. Sounds terrible. People are weird. It's okay. I'm sure people think I'm weird. I'm a nerdy, dorky girl who loves video games and loves to talk about atheist stuff online and, I don't know, has Zelda stuff all over her house. I really do. I mean, I have Zelda posters. I have a Zelda shield and sword. Like, I have a Master Sword hanging on my wall. Yes, I am a weirdo. But that's me. I have more stuff, though, too. I was just thinking of, like, we've seen some of that. Yes, some of my people have seen some of that. I was trying to think, like, I have posters, too, because I have, like, I guess I have Mario stuff, too. Because my oldest kid loves Mario, and my youngest kid loves Zelda, so it evens out, because, you know, I grew up with Zelda and Mario, so we have a lot of Zelda and Mario stuff. And then I have one poster of Kingdom Hearts, because I love Kingdom Hearts. I grew up playing Kingdom Hearts, too, so. I kind of want to, like, we kind of have a game room already that has, like, posters and stuff of Mario and that kind of stuff, but I hope one day I have, like, a game room that has a lot more stuff like that. Just gaming stuff. That would be really cool. That is my hope one day. I mean, I'm slowly acquiring stuff. Like, I have posters and I have my Zelda stuff, and there's, like, some stuff on, oh, not Etsy. Pinterest. There's some stuff on Pinterest I've seen, too, that, like, I've looked into making. I do have, I made one of those, old Nintendo, like, what are those called? Like, picture boxes? I made an old Nintendo, like, picture box one year for my husband that had, like, one of the original Nintendo games in it. And you, like, you hot glue that into it, and then you get letters and you put, blow me. So I made that for him. It's still hanging up in our arcade room, though. So I don't know if he's gonna take that or not. If he doesn't take it, I'll take it, because I'll put it in my my future game room, like, with all my stuff. But yeah, I made that, and it wasn't very hard to make, so, like, doing stuff like that, I like that kind of stuff. And I think I can make more things like that. And buy more things. I always go to the mall and just find, like, Mario and Zelda stuff, so. You know, guys have, like, their man caves. I'm just gonna have, like, my game cave. Like, all my gaming stuff in one room with all of my nerdy stuff that I love, geeky stuff, whatever it is. I'm kind of sad because, like, the store that is in the city that I live in that used to sell all that stuff, I would go in there and, like, look at some of the things they had, because they didn't just have, like, they sold video games and stuff, but they also had, like collectibles and stuff like that you could buy and they went out of business. And I'm really sad because I used to go there all the time. I'm looking on Amazon for Zelda stuff now. For yourself? I've always wanted, like, I've seen the on Pinterest too, like they make those wooden chests for like the rupees too. Those are really cool. No. Why would I buy Zelda stuff? I need to get Twilight Princess. That's like the one, well, I'm trying to think if there's any other Zelda games that I haven't played. I think that's like the one I haven't played. I mean, I didn't play Majora's Mask either. I was too, like, obsessed with Ocarina of Time. I just got so sucked into that one that I just never played Majora's Mask. I watched my brother play it, but I never actually played it because I just liked the other one better. Oh, Rufus. Cat. But, yeah, I think Twilight Princess... Everyone says I should play Twilight Princess because they said that's a really good one. And that's, like, one of the ones I haven't played. I think the only other ones that I haven't played are, like, the ones on, like, the DS's and stuff because that was kind of, like... I was a little bit older when the DS's came out, so... You know, I was in my teenage years where I wasn't so much into handheld video games as much. I was more obsessed with hanging with my friends and shopping at a mall. Like, typical teenage girl stuff. But yeah, I think Twilight Princess is the only one I haven't, like... Because I played Skyward Sword and I played Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild. I don't game. Oh. I love gaming. But I grew up with it, so... I wish I had more time to do it, but I need to, like, play more with my kids, because they like to game, too. Oh my god, cat. He's literally wrapping himself up in my cord for my headphones. Okay. Oh my gosh, I gotta go to bed. Alright. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and watching some Ray Comfort and just chilling. I like just chilling. Probably won't be on tomorrow, like I said, because tomorrow's gonna be crazy. So, I don't know when I'll be back on. I'm like thinking, and I'm like, I think the next day that I might be free would be Sunday, but we'll see. But if I'm not on, I'm sure I'll pop in and out of like other people's streams if I have time, because I've been trying to go to other people's streams too and hang out with them, so. Sunday is good. Yeah, I think Sunday's good. I don't think I have anything planned on Sunday. I'm like thinking, I know Saturday I have a class I have to go to, so 4-hour class that I have to sit through. But I don't have anything Sunday, so maybe one of these days we'll have a chill stream of just like playing games and stuff like Dr. Ben does. Student Dr. Ben. I love those. Oh my god, the game we played the other night, that had me cracking up. I am terrible at drawing, but oh my god, that was so funny. For her class, he's a college degree. I wish. Nope, not for college. Just a class I'm required to take because I'm a parent going through divorce. Yes, you have to take a class on that. At least where I live, you have to. Man, this cat wants attention right now. Alrighty, friends. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I don't know if Bolt's still here, but yes, Bolt, we need to hang out at some point. We'll figure out a time. I don't know if you have email, but if you want to email me, Overprotected Atheist at gmail.com, you can always email me there. Or if you're on Twitter, I think you're on Twitter, you can just DM me on there too. Maybe we can have a day to just go have lunch or something. That'd be fun. You skipped that class? Okay. No, it's required in my state that both parents have to take it, so it's a requirement. Have a fun night, morning, evening, wherever people are. I'll see you all when I see you, if I don't see you before Sunday. Bye.
I'm a millionaire.